groovy.
And action! Yoo-hoo! And thanks for tuning in to another cult horror movie review. I enjoy movies about people making movies, films about show business, which is one of the reasons why I liked Steven Spielberg's latest film, The Fabelmans, which is a semi-autobiography of him wanting to become a successful filmmaker. But you guys must be wondering, what's the link between The Fabelmans and this week's cult horror movie, Peeping Tom? Well, in both cases, the characters aspire to make their own movies. But let's just say that Peeping Tom had a different view of movie making than Spielberg. But just before we get going, if there's a cult horror movie you would like me to review, leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, let me know your thoughts and feelings on Peeping Tom, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to never miss out on another cult horror review every Tuesday and bad movie review every Friday. Michael Powell's Peeping Tom is, in my opinion, one of the best horror movies of the 1960s, and even though I think it's overlooked, it's a possible candidate for one of the best horror films of all time. When it was first released, this was an earth-shattering picture that really had audiences divided. Touching on sensitive subject matter, this basically ended its creator's very own career. Now, first of all, let's get one thing straight. There is no way in the world this is a slasher movie. I'm saying this because I've heard a few people talk like if this was the first slasher movie. No. Peeping Tom is immensely more creative and intelligent than that. It maybe inspired the genre, but let's not make it into something it's not. It's a psychological horror drama. German actor Karl-Heinz Bohm plays an aspiring filmmaker named Carl. On the surface, he looks like just any other normal guy, a bit on the shy side, but nothing out of the ordinary. But he's in fact a sick and twisted man, since he kills women and films their murders on the camera. This character is much more tragic and sympathetic, which was a big deal and an important innovation for the time. Carl starts to hang out with a young woman who lives downstairs, but it's only a matter of time before she finds out who she's really dealing with. Karl-Heinz Bohm, while not very expressive, did good work at showing us the two sides of this character, going from a person that fits into everyday society to a mentally disturbed killer who has a fetish for filming murdered women and making snuff films out of it. I really like the fabulously gorgeous Technicolor. It's very well done and it's a real work of art. The story sheds a light on the psychological complexity of the killer in a way that doesn't feel cheesy or superficial, but actually genuinely well documented. The audience slowly discovers what drives Carl to kill his victims in such a manner. Like I said, the story itself revolves around the idea of movie making. The movie gets very creative when we watch it through the lens of Carl's own camera. It's a very innovative technique, especially for 1960. There's something very voyeuristic about it when the viewer is invited to take a peep, if I may say. Another argument against this being a slasher movie is the almost absence of gore. The killings are off-screen, and I think it's better this way. In this case, the saying less is more really applies. What I found tense about this film is that you don't actually see any of what is on Carl's films. It's up to the viewer to imagine what could be featured on those tapes. Oddly enough, even though Peeping Tom is considered a great classic of the genre, it was polarizing when it first came out, because of the themes it tackled of sexual repression and frustration and sexual perversion. And being credited as the first British film to show nudity on the screen, this flick put an end to the director's career. The guy couldn't get work anymore, and the film was actually pulled out from theaters only 5 days after its initial release. It's funny that the works we celebrate today were sometimes lampooned and panned back then. On a final note, I think this movie, Peeping Tom, was very interesting and original. And maybe it's because Psycho came out the same year, so this movie was kind of put to the side and lives in its shadow, but I don't think it gets the attention it deserves. So after saying that, go watch Peeping Tom. It's a very good horror classic.